So let's say you found a skeleton. How would you tell it to represent you personally? How would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
Hey everybody, welcome to Jackson with Jackson. I don't know, this got a number on it. I was wrong the first time, apparently, so I'll probably just be wrong if I say it again. So just know that there's a number associated with this stream. And it might be either the number on the stream title or the number in the thumbnail. It's probably not both, though, because they're different numbers. So there you go. I am here, of course, with Jackson Wheat. By far the best Jackson, way better than Charles Jackson, or Jackson Rye, or Jackson Barley, or Jackson Sorghum. So,
nice.
Welcome, Jackson.
We
How
love
are
to
you?
see it. Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, all
Hanging
right.
in there with the cold out
Yeah,
here. We don't like the cold.
It is pretty cold out there, huh? It got down to 3 degrees here last night.
Oof, that is colder than us. I think the lowest we've gotten is 12 degrees.
I don't believe
Fahrenheit.
you because I was using Celsius. It was
You're so funny.
3 Celsius.
So you've been above freezing?
Yeah, above freezing. We did have a little drop below freezing a couple weeks ago. I went outside to find that some of the rainwater had frozen. That was in the shadows. not everywhere, just in the shadows. There was some ice. So yes, we did have a little bit of a frost. We have frosts. I'd say most years I think we have like 1 frost. I think.
Okay. Yeah, let's see, in the last like 5 years we've had 3 of these big snows where it just like completely stops everything. Of course, last time everyone remembers Ted Cruz being on a fled cruise, as we like to call him, being on a plane down to was it Cozumel?
It was somewhere warm.
Like as the city was freezing, people were literally dying because there's no water, no electricity. And there were power outages here. Fortunately, I think most of them are corrected now. We really haven't had, fortunately, big water problems here, so that's good. Knock on wood.
Yeah, that is good. All right. So, first super chat we got. Dutch Tunicate Official says, "Is he better than Jackson Oat?" Oh yeah, way better than Jackson Oat. There's a reason I didn't even mention Jackson Oat. Come on, man. What do you think? What do you guys think is happening right now? All right, so we do have a few things to announce before we really get into this. The first one is that yes, we do have a super chat goal. Only the teal or higher super chats count, and we have a poll to see what happens if we reach the super chat goal. So, our options are: I wear a suit over the human suit, which means on Saturday I will not only put on my human suit, I will put a suit on over on top of that, which will be very hot and itchy and horrible, but I'll do it anyway. Then we have
fancy.
Yes, it's very fancy. Then we have I explain why I'm not a linguist, because apparently this is still something that people argue about. So I will explain to you why I do not accept the label of linguist. Yeah, that's it. I can't even talk English. Y'all think I'm a linguist. Jeez, come on. Now, if the third option is that is English as she is spoke. Jackson, have you heard of English as she is spoke?
I don't believe so. Tell me about it.
Okay, so this is a phrase book that was designed to be a Portuguese to English phrase book for Brazilians in the 19th century. Okay, which does not sound terribly interesting until you learn.
I'm on board. Okay.
Until you learn that the man who wrote this did not speak English. He spoke Portuguese and French. And so he took a Portuguese to French phrase book and a French to English dictionary and simply went through the French side, looking up each word in his French to English dictionary and writing those out.
Oh,
and
okay.
You might not know this, but that's not how languages work. If you do that, you just get a lot of things wrong. Hilariously so, as it turns out.
So if he like tried to translate like an idiom, like je n'ai pas un radis, he would literally translate it.
Oh yeah,
as I don't have any radishes instead of like I don't have money. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. There's one that I know the exact like sequence of events, right? So there's a section in the book early on where he's giving a list of shellfish, right?
Okay.
And one of the ones that he gives is hedgehog. And it's a curious thing because, like, why would you think that a hedgehog would be a shellfish? Well, it turns out
Right.
that the animal that in English is called a sea urchin,
Mm.
in French gets its name from a hedgehog, which is a different spiky animals, which, okay, that makes sense, right? It's like a sea hedgehog. Okay, cool. Well, he didn't know that that's not how that works in English, and that word in English, because like the direct translation, the one that you get at the top on the French dictionary, is going to be the more normal sense of the word, which is the actual hedgehog. And only way down, buried somewhere else, is it going to be like, these like echinoderms in the ocean that have spikes and whatnot. So he just writes down hedgehog. Well, yeah, that's not how that works. Roshina for $4.99 with our first super chat that counts towards the goal says, "We lost our wrench icons on mobile. Now it's a shield." Really interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it doesn't really like bother me. It's just an odd. It's an interesting choice. I'll say that it's an interesting choice. It does make it seem like you guys are like my defenders or something, which that's pretty cool. All right, so the only other real thing that we have to go over is that we have a fundraiser that we are trying to get up to its goal. So I will just read out the description. This is from Vishanti, who I will just read what's up. So this is from her background section on the fundraiser, which you can see linked in the pinned chat as well as in the description. So this is from her. "I had 2 roomies. One moved out in mid-December. The second went MIA. When I tracked roomie 2 down, I learned that they had fled the state and moved hundreds of miles away." Lots of question marks and exclamation marks. "Once I got over the shock, I had to immediately shift into problem-solving mode. I would have preferred to stay in this apartment, but the rent is going up by about $200. I made the difficult decision to move out and start a new chapter." Wait, what? Yeah, roomie 2 completely abandoned the apartment, left the furnishings, and didn't even give notification. I had to cover all rent and utility costs for January by myself. Logistics: be out by March 1st. Reach out for help. Be out by March 1st as a subheading. So the lease is up, so I have a hard deadline to get a new place. Reach out for help. Local friends have been very generous in lending their time/energy/resources as I continue viewing apartments. I've got some prospects, but I need to go through the vetting and application process. I am working on a very tight budget. I began a part-time remote gig in December and will be filling out my work schedule once I am settled. Having to cover all of January costs by myself wiped out what little savings I had. Estimated expenses can be found here, and there's a link. Life throws curveballs at the damnedest times, but family and community is the greatest support anyone can have when things get tough. I'm grateful to anyone who has a heart and resources to help. So there you go. If you want to help out Vishanti, that link is there. I will be counting it towards things like the funding goals here for like fancy avatar and whatnot. And I have set it at a 1.5 multiplier there. So if you give $20 there, I add $30 to the funding goal here. So we could get fancy avatar, Bent gets free pizza, maybe even me in a tutu if we go high enough. You guys could make it so that I have to wear a tutu on top of the suit.
A suit too, if you will.
You could do that to me. If you dislike/like me enough, or if you like Vishanti enough and dislike me enough. That is a thing that could happen. All right. That is the preliminary stuff. I'm not even going to go over the drinking rules because we've taken too much time with all this other stuff. So you guys know the drinking rules. Play responsibly if you decide to play with alcohol. If you decide to play with something other than alcohol, that's fine. Just, know your limits, pace yourself. Don't go out and do anything crazy after playing the drinking game like operating a vehicle or heavy machinery, or flying, or texting your ex. Just don't do those things. They're really bad ideas. All right, Jackson, do you remember where we were 2 months ago?
No.
Okay. Well, I didn't either, so I had to double check. So where we were was Bad Jackson, as we call him, was looking at various pop sci articles from places like Discover Magazine or like the newspaper, looking at their extremely misleading headlines, and then declaring that as a result, junk DNA has been overturned. And his best example for this was that a regulatory region was found in the non-coding DNA of a bacterium, which isn't any. That's not anything. That's not a counter to the idea that junk DNA exists. That's something that we already expected. and non-coding DNA and junk DNA have never been synonymous, but he keeps pretending they are. So there's that. And then the very last thing that he said was that he credited all of this upheaval in evolution that doesn't exist to his particular prayers to God, that God might glorify himself through genetics. And so apparently Charles Jackson is claiming to be such a powerful prayer warrior that his prayers availed to write bad headlines in pop sci outlets, which, okay, dude, that sure is a great superpower you got there with your whole prayers. Could you maybe pray for like cancer to go away or malaria?
Dapper, that is way down on his list.
Yeah.
God has priorities, and that is not one of them.
Right. Apparently, it's badly written headlines in newspapers and magazines.
Best I can do is badly written headlines.
Yeah, that's God's like, oh, I was gonna cure guinea worm, but instead, I got this pop sci writer to write something stupid. Look at that. Yeah. Okay. Great. I am glad that it has been a very, very long time since I shared any religious affiliation that Charles Jackson would deem acceptable. So, yeah. Yeah. And because, that even among Christians, he definitely finds a lot of them to be unacceptable.
Oh, I'm sure they're not real Christians.
Right. As a rule of thumb, if Charles Jackson would approve of your theology, I wouldn't.
Fair.
So that's what I'm going to put out there. All right, so let's just dive into it. We all know what we're doing here now. Here we go.
That is what it is. The fool has said in his heart.
Oh, or the video is just going to crash and burn for some reason.
Also, I can't. Yeah, I was about to say I can't see it on my end.
Junk DNA is a natural selection.
So we'll try to get back to where it was. Oh, and yeah. Oh, and now it's gigantic again. This is a disaster, but it's not a Dapper's a professional because I didn't crash the program. And I got to double check to where we were. 5107. We've gone through almost an entire hour of this nonsense.
Woo!
Yeah.
Over the span of 4 years, we have gone through almost an...
It's gone. But for 50 years, the Piltdown Man fossil sat for 40 years in the Royal Museum of London. Generations of students saw it, and it was said it was the missing link.
Hey, Jackson, who was it that discovered that Piltdown Man was fake? Was it creationists?
Nope, it sure wasn't.
Who was it?
It was evolutionary anthropologists.
Oh, and I am seeing that we just got another $50 on the fundraiser. Thank you so much. So yeah, that is really, really awesome. So yeah, I guys, I really appreciate that. I think you guys know that Vishanti's been a big part of the channel. She's a very good friend of mine, and life has been just throwing curveballs at her all the time. There was a death in the family not that long ago. She's struggling to look. Getting on your feet in California is a pain in the ass. It's a very expensive place. So like, yeah, it's rough out there.
Generations of students rejected God, accepted evolution, rejected the Bible. For if you
Do you have any citations on anyone using Piltdown Man as their reason to become an atheist? There, Chuck? Because I don't think
Probably
you do. Yeah. I've never heard of anyone doing that.
It was debunked. I would actually be curious to know what the if there's like any surveys of anthropologists.
Oh, drink from Mothra.
Like 10, 20 years, or more like 20, 30 years after Piltdown, because within 10 years, there was already, I believe it was a French scientist, I don't remember what type, who determined that it was most likely a forgery.
Right.
Like within 10 years. And so I'd be curious to know if there are surveys anywhere of anthropologists, because like by the time you get like the first Australopiths found, already Piltdown was like, something's not right here. And as more and more of them piled up, it became more and more anomalous. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious to know, but I don't think I'm sure it was probably treated the same way that we treat like Kenyanthropus in anthropology classes, which is mostly like we're not entirely sure where it fits. It's got a lot of really odd characteristics, so we're just kind of going to set it aside for now and focus on the things we do have good data on.
Yeah. Yep. But no, it was actually driving people into the clutches of atheism.
Of
Yes.
course, obviously. That one and Nebraska Man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. People looked at that tooth and that skull and they were like, well, I guess God isn't real after all. Because that's how belief in God works.
Yep.
You look at the wrong skull, boom, atheism. Really, if like for the anti-theists out there, instead of like going around like being shrill and annoying at like churches, not at churches usually, but like, you know, like doing like street epistemology cringy stuff, which by the way, it's still cringy when atheists do it. It's not less cringy than when Christians do it. Instead, you should just be mailing people skulls.
True.
Yeah. I hear that you can make skulls to mail people out of ice. Because there's molds.
Yeah. Oh, there is a place called Bone Clone online. I don't know if
There
you ever
sure
been to Bone
is.
Clone?
I
That
have.
place is there's some awesome stuff on there, including a lot of their stuff is very expensive. Fair warning for anyone who decides to go
Oh,
there. But they have really, really cool casts of like hominin skulls, and they have loads and loads and loads of stuff. They got a lot of really cool things, but fair warning is expensive.
Yeah,
So
that's why I don't have any purchases from there. But you better believe that I've perused their selection.
oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The deplorable elk for 200 Argentinian pesos says, the time it takes to go through a single video on this channel is either a testament to Brandolini's law or to the fact that if you put a couple nerds together, they're going to derail the conversation into all sorts of nonsense. It is both, my friend.
¿Por qué no los dos?
See.
Can't believe Genesis. Why should you believe Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John?
Because they're different books, man. This drives me crazy. They're not the same thing, my guy. They don't stand or fall together. The fact that you put them in the same book is an accident of history. Right? Like,
How do you think Charles
uh,
Jackson would feel like meeting like Gregory of Nyssa or Saint Maximus the Confessor or like other like church fathers who were like
Justin
"Yeah,
Martyr?
you don't have to take Genesis as literal history.
Oh, he would
Like
hate
I
them.
feel like he probably would. He'd be like,
He
you're
would be
not a
like,
real Christian.
Augustine of Hippo? More like Augustine of Hell. That I feel like is what Charles Jackson would say.
You're
if he
probably
met-
right. Yeah.
If he met Augustine of Hippo. Yeah. Jeez. Roshina for $4.99 says, oh, so not making molds out of former ice skulls? Look, I said what I said. And if you take it in a certain kind of a way, I can't stop you. But what I clearly meant was that you can make a mold of a skull, or they sell molds of skulls, right? So you can make like a skull with like whiskey ball type thing, you know, ball shaped ice for like whiskey glass. You can make it into a skull instead. And if you interpreted something else, I can't stop you.
If you can't believe that God made the heavens and the earth, Bareshit bara Elohim et hashamayim va'et haaretz.
I hated that. This is someone who has never learned Hebrew, but who has looked at transliterations of Hebrew. You know how I know?
How do you know?
He pronounced the direct object marker et as 8. Mm-hmm. Which is the kind of thing you would only get if you have an English speaker who looks at a transliteration of Genesis 1:1, because that's what he's reciting here, and then sees that there's that word spelled what is it, Aleph Tav, and it's transliterated as et because the vowel after the Aleph is a eh, and then you just get it wrong because you don't know how vowels work in Hebrew.
Never beating the linguist charges.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, I absolutely hated that. That was, And I mean, that's not his only mistake there, but it's the one that is like tells you exactly what happened, which is that he's a English speaker who looked at a transliteration of Hebrew one day. This man probably doesn't know what a single one of those words means in isolation. Yeah. I mean, he might be able to guess that the first word is what is usually translated as in the beginning, but like, yeah, I don't think this man speaks a single word of Hebrew. I don't think he could read a single Hebrew word in Hebrew characters. Like if you toss the word shalom at him in actual like Hebrew block script, I'm pretty sure he would just go cross-eyed. But also there's another 20 on the fundraiser, so thank you very much. And then for $5, Narondaput says, did Augustine of Hippo throw poop everywhere to mark his territory? Not that I'm aware of, but maybe. Maybe. He slept with a lot of prostitutes. He did do that.
He's actually the second, or sorry, St. Augustine of Hippo is the first most dangerous animal. He's the most dangerous animal, believe it or not.
I don't know how to assess that. That sounds like something that might be true. But yeah. Oh, goodness. Fearmonger, the coelacanth, says, how would you bet Jackson would pronounce het?
I don't know anything about Hebrew. I just want to throw this out there.
That's fair. There's no reason for most people to know anything about Hebrew. But if you're going to come out speaking Hebrew, you might want to know a thing or two, right? Oh, there, drink for Mothra again. Mothra's busy tonight. All right. I am guessing that if Charles Jackson saw the word or the name of the letter het, that he would say Chet because it's CHET. That is my guess. Chuck, feel free to prove me wrong, please, because my God, your Hebrew is atrocious, and I say that as someone who does not do very well in Hebrew and who does not pretend to. But even for me, oh boy, my Arabic is far better than my Hebrew, and my Arabic isn't that great. But I did take it in school, so there you go.
If you can't believe that, then why should you believe? And I love what Billy Graham said. There's a man, Jesus Christ, dying on a cross 2,000 years ago, and you're going to tell me he changed my life? Don't kid me.
That was weird. Also, I'm confused by the use of the present tense, because it didn't seem like a historical narrative. So, like, it probably should have been past. But whatever, it doesn't matter. It's fine. I don't care.
Don't kid me. That's like what Malcolm Smith said. What we have appears to be manna in the wilderness, but it's white fluffy stuff that nobody knows what it is or understands it. The word manna in Hebrew means, what is it? They never did figure out what it was.
How does this connect at all to junk DNA?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Okay.
Maybe
cool.
Junk DNA is the manna of the genome.
Yeah. I mean, at least he's got like what manna is. It's a compound word with the word for what, like ma. So at least we got that. That's one of the more conserved words across Semitic languages, by the way. It works in Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic. Don't ask about like Tigrinya because I don't know. Liz D, who's been a member for 19 months and is at the annual level, says, "Look, Dapper, I have another membership chat. Aren't I your best member? AIG is a bag of Kenthovens." Well, Liz D, at the risk, so I don't want to risk alienating all my other members, but I will say you are certainly in my top 400 members. And I'll take a drink. Let's see. The Deplorable Elk says, "Fun fact, Javier Millet is pretending he's Jewish. He isn't even a convert. He was telling people the story of Moses and wanted to say Pharaoh in Hebrew. He didn't know the word, so he looked up the English and said Pharaoh." People. Guys, look, there's no shame in not knowing Hebrew. The vast majority of the world does not know Hebrew and never will learn Hebrew. It's fine to not know Hebrew. It's less fine to pretend to know Hebrew. Just don't. Why do people do this? It's it's like with Baramin. It's like, oh God, that's an abomination of an etymology right there. no one who knows even the first thing about Hebrew would think that you could just make that word Baramin and then say Baraminology. Like, ugh. I did not expect that this was going to turn into Dapper complains about people who fake Hebrew. Just learn some Hebrew if you want to know Hebrew. It's not like it's like some kind of crazy esoteric magical language that's impossible to learn for a mere mortal. It's just a language. It has nouns, it has verbs, it has grammar rules, it has vocabulary to memorize. It's just a language. You can just learn it. It's fine. It's not that hard.
But it's there, and it's real, and it's doing, and it's working, and it's a mystery, so well if we don't understand it.
Oh, that's what he's doing with the junk DNA. It's a mystery. I mean, it's not a mystery, right? Because there's some aspects of junk DNA, like whether or not the DNA in question is under selection. Because we can tell the degree to which a segment of the genome is under selection, right? So depending on how much it diverges from that same section in other organisms, by which I mean other members of the population. So like for humans, other humans. That helps us determine the degree to which it is under selection, because if it's highly, highly variable, what that means is the organism can survive with virtually any sequence there, which means that whatever that thing is doing is not sequence dependent. But guess how many vital functions are non-sequence dependent? Jackson, what do you think?
How many vital functions are non-sequence dependent? I'm going to guess none.
Yeah, it's either none or so close to none that it doesn't really matter that much. And we just got another 70 on the fundraiser. Thank you so much. All right, so let's see. Fits of Rage 23 for $2 says, but Hebrew was the first language. Must be complicated. Well, first of all, no. But even if it were the first language, there's no reason that it would have to be complicated. Languages don't get simpler as they go.
Also, pre-Yiddish is the first language.
Obviously, yes, it is indeed pre-Yiddish. So like what I was saying about the genome is like, so it's not that we don't know what all of it does, which we don't, but that is not the reason that we say that there's junk DNA. It's junk DNA is not a grab bag for DNA that is currently otherwise unclassified. Junk DNA is a designation for DNA for which we have positive evidence of non-function. And that is a thing that we actually have for the majority of the genome of basically every eukaryote. Well, every eukaryote with a genome sequence that we have.
Even programs like ENCODE, even by their definition, something like 20% of the genome, by their initial definition of function, initially, at least 20% still had no function. By their own work. So that's why it never really made any sense to me for creationists to be like, oh, well, they say it's 80%, so it's probably 100%. Like, no. They're using a ridiculously bad, wide definition of function. And even with that very wide definition, they're still getting regions that we are for certain are not doing anything.
Yep.
Even under that definition. So,
Diawing, who's been a member for 41 months, sends Mothra, Godzilla, and Ghidorah, which means we take a drink. Thank you very much. By the way, I am still using my Shure mic. Let me know how it is sounding, because I don't have a lot of experience listening to myself using this mic while live. So there we go. Oh, and Straight Rat has caught up. Well, congratulations. I don't know how far behind you were, but awesome. All right, here we go.
The faith is truly placed in the right place if it's vindicated in the end like this. And
my guy, I hate to tell you this, but the thing that's been vindicated over and over and over in the genetics is evolution and junk DNA as part of that. So if you're holding up your faith in contrast to that and then saying, look at which side is being vindicated by the evidence, I got bad news for you, buddy, because it's not your faith. It's the scientific conclusion of evolution being true, and the majority of the human genome and eukaryote genomes in general being junk. All right, Sulu says I sound great. Then Babaton says 5 by 5. which is either a reference to Aliens or StarCraft. In either way, good reference. It also could just be an actual reference to like aviation stuff, but I don't care about that. I care about StarCraft and Aliens.
Fair.
Yeah, right? Come on. Great video game, great movie. And it's very woke because it stars a woman.
True.
Because
If it has women in it,
if
it
there's
is
one thing
woke.
I know, yeah, any media with a woman, woke central, right there.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why when they finally put a woman in Star Trek, it suddenly became woke. That's how Star Trek works. It used to not be woke, and then women happened, and now you can't get anything because of the woke.
Yeah, the women are just in everything. You know, they're everywhere.
Yeah, we should go back to
All
the
over the
good
place.
old times when there were no women. They didn't exist
The
yet.
pre-women.
They hadn't been invented.
Well, Ray Comfort says that, you know, like the first dog was around, and it was a male dog, of course, and it had to wait for millions of years for a female dog to arise.
Man, that thing would be humping every couch available. Jeez. Dogs aren't that picky.
If every 21 things the Bible got right ahead of time, you know what?
What? Did we get this list of 21 things the Bible got right ahead of time? Because I don't remember this list.
I don't think so.
Okay, I would love to see this list of 21 things that the Bible got right ahead of time. Because I've seen a lot of lists like that for various things. I actually more often see it for the Quran, right? Because the alleged scientific miracles in the Quran is a really big thing that Muslim apologists really like. Whereas I see that less with Christian apologists. But like, I'd like to see it. Because my guess is it's going to be just as amazing and accurate as the list from the Quran, which is to say, laughably dumb.
On the things we can't check on the Bible with, since it's been right about everything else we've been able to check on.
It's been right about some things we've been able to check on, and very, very wrong about a whole lot of things. Like that there was an Exodus. Didn't happen. That there was a conquest of Canaan. Not by the Hebrews or the Israelites, there wasn't.
Yeah, I read 1177 BC. I read
Yeah.
all about that.
There you go. Now, there are some things it gets right, like Pontius Pilate was a real dude. So was King Herod, right? Like, Darius, actually a real dude who really did things, conquered Babylon and whatnot. So, like, yeah. What is it? Some of the kings were historical. Like, I think we have pretty good evidence that Hezekiah was historical, stuff like that. Like, so, yeah, there's some stuff in the Bible that absolutely checks out when you check like archaeology or other surrounding histories from other groups that were written more or less contemporaneously to the stories. And like, I'm not going to pretend otherwise. There's absolutely a bunch of stuff in there that's absolutely true. But there's also a whole bunch of stuff, and it's some of his favorite stuff, that is absolutely not literally historically accurate. Like, just the existence of a giant slave population of Hebrew speakers in Egypt at any point ever. Not a real thing. Were there ever any Hebrew slaves in Egypt? Yeah, probably. But there were slaves from all over the place in Egypt. Because, you know, when you win a battle in the ancient Iron Age and Bronze Age, you take some slaves back. That's what you do. That's what those captives are for. Either ransom them, or if no one's willing to pay the ransom, they go home and they work for you. Without consent. So, like, yeah, I'm sorry, buddy, but, like, when it comes to, like, rating the historical accuracy of a book, if we take the Bible as a whole, I don't know, it's getting, like, a 2 out of 10, maybe a 3 out of 10. And if you want to go book by book, like, we get, like, a 0 for Genesis and Exodus. And, well, okay, we don't get a 0 for Exodus, because there was a guy named Balaam who was a famous prophet.
There's a place called Egypt.
Okay, yeah. So, like, maybe Exodus gets, like, a 1 out of 10. So, yeah. And I guess Deuteronomy is weird because it's mostly not all that much in terms of stories. It's more, like, legislation that was thought up by King Josiah's scribes, not by Moses. Which, hey, by the way, King Josiah, another historical figure. So, yeah. Anyway, we got a few things. Laser Fan, who's been a member for 15 months, says, still waiting for the junk DNA talk. Yeah, sorry. Lieutenant Math the Navigator for $10 says 5x5 is a report of radio transmission quality on a scale of 1 through 5, with the first number representing the signal strength or volume and the second signal clarity. The same order is loud and clear. Oh, now I know more about 5x5. Because I only ever hear it in the context of Aliens and StarCraft, which was referencing aliens. because StarCraft referenced a lot of stuff from other sci-fi franchises. Like, remember the Arbiter unit in StarCraft? I guess not, Jackson. No.
Sorry.
It was the guy who could. It was a Protoss unit who could cloak your units, and you could also teleport units to the Arbiter's location. Anyway, a whole bunch of its lines came from Star Trek: The Next Generation, the episode where Picard becomes the Arbiter of Succession for Kim Peck, the outgoing, because he's dying, Klingon High Chancellor. And there's a contest between Duras and Gowron over who will be the next Chancellor. And that's one of the reasons why actually two of the voice lines for the Arbiter unit are Duras and Gowron. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Petite Flower for $5 says, forgetting your Buffy lore is almost unforgivable. Who said I forgot it? Maybe I just didn't ever learn it. Because I will be honest, I do not know all that much Buffy lore, and I never really have. That's not to say that I didn't like the show. I did, but like I didn't watch it the same way that some of my other friends were like religiously glued to Buffy. I just never actually got that into it. I don't know.
Yeah, I've watched like a handful of episodes here and there.
Goop2 3 for $2 says AIG is a bag of learning kanji. Oh, I'll take a drink for that. Yeah, learning kanji, not a fun time. Especially when you learn that sometimes the kanji has one reading when it's being used as an ideogram, and then a different reading when it's being used as a phonetic component of a different word. And so you have to keep all the different readings of the same kanji in mind and use context clues to figure out which one is intended. Thanks, Japan. Yeah. The only good argument for keeping kanji around that I've ever heard from a Japanese person is the kanji are unambiguous when it comes to tone-based stress on words, whereas the katakana and hiragana are ambiguous, and some words are only distinguished by tone stress. And I was like, I do not feel like that is a good enough argument, but whatever, I'm not in charge of Japanese.
Yet.
Well, I don't ever want to be in charge of Japanese. That sounds horrible.
Well, sometimes you just fall into the lap of power.
Yeah, I guess. Hey, Japanese people, if you want to elect me king of Japanese, let me know. It better come with really good pay, because I do not want that job.
Why not go with the track record?
Okay, science has the track record, buddy. Cool, let's do it. Oh, look, my goodness, evolution is true. There was no Exodus. There was no conquest of Canaan. The Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Oh, man.
Why not trust it? There's a friend who has never lied to you, never caught him in a lie.
Dude, the Bible literally says God lies. God lies in several parts of the Bible. What are you talking about? Even the Bible doesn't say that about God. Actually, it does say that about God too, because the Bible is internally contradictory in places, in a lot of places. Because the Bible that has God lying in certain parts, also in other parts, says things like God is not a man that he should lie. Okay, well then why did you tell me earlier that he did lie? Yeah, like I'm taking a drink. I'm taking a drink. God has never lied to you, except, in the parts of the Bible where he lies. But we're going to pretend those parts don't exist, because I really care about the Bible.
Dapper, you're not using your God glasses when you read those parts.
Right. I forgot. I'm supposed to put on the God glasses.
You have to filter those out. Yeah.
Are those like beer glasses?
They could be.
Okay.
I mean, they obstruct your view, and whatever belief you already have is what you're reading. Yeah, that's how that works.
Okay. That sounds convenient.
Yeah.
I think I might rather go with the beer glasses, though, especially if they do the thing that real beer does, which is make basically everyone at the bar at least 5% more attractive.
Okay, fair.
Then all the gods in the Bible can become 5% more attractive.
And they finally need for you to trust them. They've got a good track record. A good track record.
I want to point out that Charles Jackson is presenting himself as like an exemplar of this track record, and his personal track record has mostly been lying about pop sci articles. So
yeah,
look, I gotta say, if God is real, I can't help but think that when Charles Jackson meets him, he's gonna have a lot of splaining to do about why it is that he was trying to represent God with such dishonest and incredibly dumb tactics. Because I feel like God's not going to be a huge fan of that. But also, it looks like we just got another $20 on the fundraiser. Thank you so much. We are at 1,715 right now. That is awesome. And also, we are actually pretty close to pace for the tutu, which means if you want to see the tutu and a suit at the same time, get us to that 30 super chats and to 200% on this fundraiser thing, and we'll do it. I'll do it.
The suit too.
Yes, it'll be extremely uncomfortable.
The concept is an outdated metaphor. Now it's gone, and they're pretending they never threw it in our faces. But you know.
No, I'm still throwing it in your face. I always was, and I am now. Junk DNA is real. You said it wouldn't be, and it is. You're the loser in this one there, Chuck. You're the one who's been... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, there's a delay. Go for it.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't believe the narrative ever that they, like, conceded to junk DNA. Because Casey Luskin has said this, too. They're like, oh, well, you know, they used to say, oh, junk DNA is a really good argument for evolution, but now that I know better, it's not. Like, I genuinely don't believe you ever thought that that was actually an argument for evolution. I simply don't. I don't think Charles Jackson ever at any point in his life was like, yeah, okay, junk DNA is a good argument, and then, like, read these articles and was like, no, it's actually not a good argument. I just don't believe them. I think that's probably lying.
I think that's a fair assessment. I don't know if I share it completely. I don't know. I just haven't really thought about it that much.
Transitional fossils too. It's like they always act like, oh man, this big transitional fossil came out, and then I read more about it. Now I don't believe that it's actually good evidence.
Oh yeah, okay.
You didn't believe it in the first place. Don't give me that.
That's fair. Now that you make that like example, yeah, I see what you mean. I think yeah, you're probably right. Yeah,
that's me like just psychoanalyzing, but there's a very strong opinion that I hold.
Oh, you know what? For some reason, this just reminded me of something really dumb that I heard from Georgia Purdom, and I don't want to give away too many spoilers, right? So this went in the script that I finished today, because I finished the script today, hoping to. I'm probably not going to record it tonight because I'm really tired. So maybe tomorrow night. But she makes a mistake that is directly analogous to confusing fertility rates with population growth rates, and using fertility rates to predict future population sizes, right? So if it's like, oh, for every female, there are 6 offspring, which means every generation we add 3 times as many members as there used to be in the last generation. And you just keep doing that, right? That's how you figure out a population growth rate. Entirely ignoring the fact that, hey, organisms die sometimes.
She's a geneticist. She has a degree.
She does.
A doctoral degree in genetics.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Can't figure out the difference between a population growth rate and a fertility rate. Yep.
I think, does that qualify as, there's no way.
Oh, she's definitely lying.
Has to be. Yeah, no, absolutely.
She also used sources in that talk that she's giving that she just directly lied about what they are and what they're about.
Okay.
Yeah, she's lying. She was lying. This was in the past, but like Georgia Purdom, you're a liar. It's not unusual for creationists.
Oh, and I know, and I'm telling you, Jeffrey Schwartz, a kind of renegade.
Oh yeah, this is one of those guys who we both were like, who? He loves these people that no one has heard of. Not to offend Jeffrey Schwartz, you might be a great guy. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, he pulls these scientists out of a hat so he can cherry pick some of their quotes, and then touts them as if they're like the biggest name in all of science, Jeffrey Schwartz. And I'm just like, I follow this
experts,
right? And I'm like, I follow actual evolution news, not Evolution News, the website. Fairly closely, and I've never heard of this guy. Doesn't mean he doesn't do good work, but like, he's clearly not the megastar that Charles Jackson wants him to be.
Evolutionist at University of Pittsburgh, in an article in 2007 called "Do Molecular Clocks Run at All?" said this.
Haven't we both read that paper?
I think we did, and it was it. I this guy was also, isn't he the one who's like orangutans are actually the closest relatives of humans? Was that this guy?
Yeah, I think it is that same guy. Yeah, this guy's a loon.
I feel like we
if I
ask
remember
this every
correctly.
time.
Yeah, because he's
Like,
such a crazy loon that we forget about him.
Yeah, I'm like 95% sure we've been over this article. I mean, the history of organic life is undemonstrable. We cannot prove a whole lot in evolutionary biology, and our findings will always be hypothesis. Okay, fair.
Yeah.
There is one true evolutionary history of life. Whether we'll actually know it is not likely. Okay,
Yeah,
fair.
sure.
Most importantly, question underlying assumptions, whether we're dealing with. Okay, I really don't see anything wrong with any of these sentences. Like, okay.
But the thing is, they're sentences that's easy to twist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, see, this guy said our conclusions will always remain tentative. Yeah, welcome to science. That's just how science works.
When I give the first lecture in like the Bio 1 classes where you have a whole lecture where you talk about what the process of science is, an important thing that you note is science is not linear. It is cyclical, right? So you have your conclusions, or circular, I should say. It's circular. You have your conclusions, right, that you derive from your experiment or observation, whatever, and then that fuels your next hypothesis, which then fuels more experiments and observations, which and then you can draw your conclusion, which fuels more hypotheses. Like, you're always going around. None of your conclusions are like set in stone. They have to be open to revision. And every working scientist understands this. There's literally no one in science who does not understand this concept.
Yeah.
Not one.
Jaden Booth for $5 says AIG is a double stuffed bag of ding dongs, and we will take a drink for that. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that, and they really are. In fact, possibly more so now, because they've, for the most part, just kind of given up on trying to convince people of like scientific nonsense. And now they're just like diving headlong into like, how can we be the biggest piles of shit imaginable by hating on basically everyone who's not us? Especially trans people. They hate trans people.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I mean, trans people are, for a sadly large number of Americans, the acceptable minority to hate. And that's just really pathetic.
Well, it would have been pedos, but then they decided to make one of them their god king.
True, that's very true. Yeah. Yep. Racist, rapist, pedophile. Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I'd add murderer.
With 34 felonies.
It's true. That's 34 more felonies than I have to my name.
Also me. Yeah.
You can look. There are no arrest records for Dapper Dinosaur. Not even one.
The history of organic life is undemonstrable.
Dude, modulate your fucking volume. There's our one. Jeez, dude. Stop suddenly screaming into your mouth. Into your mic, sorry. Scream into your mouth, I guess. I don't care, whatever. But like, I just, I hate it when he does that. He is the hardest person to set levels for. Because when he's normally talking, he's talking like this with the microphone nice and far away, and he's speaking softly, like maybe he's on NPR. And then suddenly he goes like this and starts yelling at everyone. It's like, dude, just have an even normal voice. I'm not saying be monotone or flat, but like, geez, dude. Pegajace, the Darwin mythicist, sends 3 trans pride flags for a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. And indeed, trans rights. We are big supporters of trans rights here at the Dapper Dinosaur channel. And if you're not, quite frankly, you can leave.
Yeah.
We're not going to debate you about whether or not certain people deserve to have, like, you know, human rights and be treated with basic decency. It's not a discussion I'm interested in. The answer is yes, they do. And if you disagree, I don't know. But I hear lead tastes great. You should try that.
Can't be demonstrated. I'm always looking at you, David, there. See, I listen. I do listen. We cannot prove a whole lot in evolutionary biology.
Yeah, or in science broadly, guy. That's how science works. It's not math. You can't write a formal proof that 100% demonstrates some empirical observation to be what you think it is. We don't know with 100% proof that the Earth isn't the center of the universe. We have pretty high confidence that it's not, but it's not 100%. Vandalia 1998 for $5 says, Dapper, you never got in trouble for all those sauropods you ate back in the day? No, of course not. Why would a Ceratosaurus get in trouble for eating sauropods? It's what we do. It's like getting a wolf in trouble for eating a deer. It's like that's what they're for. The deer and the wolf. That's the natural relationship between those two. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, he's an evangelical preacher. Their rhetorical style demands random screaming for some reason. Yeah, you're right. Jeez. All right, look. I know that my audience has plenty of Christians in it, and some of you might even identify as evangelicals, but like, I gotta tell you, not being an evangelical might be one of the best life choices I made in a very, very long time of my entire 150 million year life. It is it's not a group that I think you should associate with, if you ask me. There are other Christian groups that are better, that are less bigoted, that are less controlling, that have better rhetoric, are better on things like scholarship or history or things like that. Like, there's a lot of options out there within Christianity. Please don't pick the worst ones, which includes evangelical Christianity in my book. If you disagree with me, that's fine. You don't have to agree with me on that. Maybe you are in a great, loving, welcoming, non-judgmental, non-bigoted evangelical church. And if you are, then awesome. If that's working for you, stick with it. For me, though, yeah, no, I'm glad I'm out of that.
And our findings will always be what? Which is an educated guess.
No, that is not how that works. I'm taking a drink. Creationists love to say how much they love science, right? They say that all the time. But then they read something that's just an ordinary statement about science, which things like, our conclusions are always tentative. We can never prove anything 100%. And we are making hypotheses for future testing. And they're like, see? That's horrible. That sucks. That's not what we want. It's like, no, that's just science. The thing you claim to love, but are clearly lying about loving. Right? Like, I don't get to say, oh, I love football. I just hate field goals and touchdowns and tackles and passes and running plays. What is left? What do you like about football? What, the cheerleaders? That's not even part of football.
I mean, that's what I'm there for.
Well, great, but that wouldn't say that you love football. You love cheerleaders, which is fine. Cheerleaders are cool. I don't mind cheerleaders. But it's
Hot
not
dogs.
football. Hot dogs are good too,
I like
but
hot
also
dogs.
not football.
Okay, you got me there.
Yeah. Like, if you're going to say you love science, but then when you're presented with what science is, and your reaction is to make fun of it and say that that's dumb, you don't love science. What you love is what you think science is, but it's not actually what science is. Maybe Bad Jackson, looks at science with those beer goggles that make everything more attractive. And he's actually in love with what he thinks science is when he's drunk.
There is one true evolutionary history of life, and whether we will actually ever know it is not likely.
Yeah, that's how the past is, dude. That's true for everything. There's only one history of the Neo-Assyrian Empire. You're never going to know all of it. I mean, think about it. This in very basic terms, right? Okay, so you know the Fayum Oasis in Egypt there, Good Jackson?
Okay.
All right. That is one of the longest inhabited areas that we have an archaeological record for in like North Africa, period, right? Is the Fayum. It is one of the places where we see the earliest groups of people that have cultural and material continuity with later dynastic Egypt. So this is basically like our earliest version of pre-dynastic Egyptian culture. We find a lot of that stuff in the Fayum Basin, Oasis, whatever. Right?
Okay.
One of the people who lived there one day had breakfast. And I'm never going to know what that breakfast was. Or that person's name. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. The fact that I don't have a record of the names of every single person and what they ate for breakfast every single day in the Fayum Oasis isn't evidence that no one lived there or that my ideas about them having a meal after waking up is fake. That's a thing that people did. We know that. Can we ever know all of it? No, of course not. We just have to live with that. That's what being human is. You have a limited ability to learn about things. You don't have a perfect record of the past. So all your ideas about the past are going to be, to some degree, provisional and not certain. And that's even true for your entire life. Right? I remember waking up and having some cottage cheese for breakfast. I can't say for certain that's true. I've had false memories before. And even if I hadn't, it could be my first one, because that's a thing that happens to people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the fact that we'll never know the actual, literal, exact evolutionary history is not a reason to think that there is no such thing. The fact that we can learn about it at all means that there probably is such a thing. Because if there wasn't, then we wouldn't be able to learn about it. Just like I can't learn about the fact that the people in Fayum were eating dragon eggs for breakfast. You know why? Because there weren't any dragons. So I can't learn about them eating them. Bad Jackson makes me sad. You know that?
I believe it.
Like, I look at that guy and I'm like, he could be doing so many other things. He could be helping people. He could be using that education degree to actually get, like, education in this country to be better. It's not great, most places. But instead, he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lie for Jesus. That's my calling in life. Like, yeah, okay, dude, cool.
It's the Big Bang thing again. They just hoping and wishing and believe, and you just click your heels together. You'll get back to Kansas, you know.
Charles Jackson has never been more punchable. Ever.
If you believe in fairies, then clap your hands. Tinkerbell.
I'm calling this as a joke that didn't land.
Hands, I'm sorry to make fun, but they've been making fun of us for all this time, and now they know. They know.
Hey,
We're gonna keep making fun of you.
Yeah, Chuck, the reason we're making fun of you is because not only are you wrong, you're dangerously wrong. Your ideas get people killed. Sometimes it gets them killed because they decide to ignore science and do dangerous things like not get vaccinated in the middle of a deadly epidemic. Other times, it gets people murdered. This is not unconnected to the string of murders that we've seen in Minneapolis. Like, let's not forget that, right? What Charles Jackson is doing right now is he is currently carrying water for Christo-fascists who have largely gained the reins of power through a proxy who doesn't give a damn about Christianity, but who is a useful idiot. And promoting young earth creationism is a part of the culture war that is behind that abuse of power by Christian nationalists, largely behind the scenes, but very openly anyway. Like, it's not a secret that a large number of the Project 2025 authors were various kinds of Christian clergy.
Yeah.
Right? So, right now...
I mean, the Discovery Institute was on their list of supporters.
Yeah.
Before they pulled their name off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're
not
cowards.
just supporters, contributors.
Yes.
So, right now, there is blood on the hands of people promoting this ideology. And that includes Charles Jackson. Now, to be fair to Charles Jackson, it's probably a pretty small amount of blood in terms of, like, him personally. But it's still there. He has his grubby little hands in the entire movement that's currently killing people. Just murdering them in the streets in broad daylight. On camera. On multiple cameras. And then lying to your face and saying it didn't happen. Or it didn't happen the way that it obviously did. Charles Jackson is responsible for that to some small degree, because he is currently in this video spreading the ideology that undergirds all of that. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, evolutionists believe in fairy tales. Man that believes donkeys speak. Well, donkey, to be fair. He probably doesn't believe in any other speaking donkeys. But yeah, point taken. So, yeah. Ridicule is the absolute least that we can give to creationists in terms of our treatment of their ideas. Now, I don't think you should go around bullying individual creationists, especially ones who aren't like, preaching about it, right? Like Charles Jackson, he puts himself out there, so he's, as far as I'm concerned, fair game. But like the guy who just goes to church and like, I don't know, runs a shop or like works at some desk job, who just happens to be a creationist because that's the church he goes to, he's not really responsible for the spread of young earth creationism. So maybe don't bully that guy. But like, yeah, Charles Jackson deserves derision and mockery.
Egg on the face.
I love how literally nothing that he said in this entire almost an hour has actually been a real reason to say that there's egg on the face of the evolutionists. And yet he's so smug and arrogant about the nonsense that he said that he thinks he has the upper hand in this discussion. The guy who can't figure out what a scientific publication even is, as far as I can tell.
Most importantly, we have to think about questioning underlying assumptions, whether we are dealing with molecules or anything else.
Yeah. Literally all this guy is saying is, hey guys, evolutionary biology is science. We should treat it like science. Yep, that's true. That's true. We should.
The underlying assumptions that the Darwinian posit was true. And based on all those assumptions, now they're running into catastrophe, calamity after calamity after calamity, and what causes these?
This is part of that long-standing evolution is a theory in crisis narrative that's been going on for how long now, Jackson? 60 years?
I mean, I'm sure you could find people back in Darwin's time who were like, this whole evolution thing isn't going to last much longer. But
I mean, yeah, that's true. But like, I
mean,
think
there's literally that book was from the 90s, wasn't it? Evolution. Was that Denton? Evolution of Theory in
Denton.
Crisis.
Was it only the night? All right, sure. Maybe it was more recent than I was thinking it was. I thought.
I'm sure there've always been people who have said that.
True.
I'm sure.
But yeah, for decades now, there has been this narrative among creationists that evolution.
85.
85?
Sorry.
Okay. So 40 years ago. Okay. So, yeah, for decades now, there have been these claims from creationists that evolution is on the verge of collapse. It's a theory in crisis. It's only got a few years left, and then the paradigm is going to crumble, and from the ashes is going to rise like a phoenix, biblical young earth creationism, and it's going to take over biology by storm, and everyone's going to become a Christian, and every knee shall bow and every tongue confess. And it just keeps not happening, man.
It's a real fly in the ointment that it was accepted among most scientists prior to Charles Darwin working out evolution that the Earth must be millions of years old.
Yeah, they don't like that.
That's really inconvenient for the narrative that you have, like in the in the 1700s. You have like Hutton and William Smith and these other guys being like, I'm thinking that the Earth is really old, and there were different periods of history in the Earth that had different flora and fauna in them, and that these did not overlap in time.
Faunal succession. It's a problem for young Earth creationism, even if evolution is fake.
Also, I learned from one of the books I'm reading, America, that the discovery or the information that the discovery and the information that were brought back to the old world as Europeans, like the Spanish conquistadors, were going to the New World. That this idea, or that the discovery of the New World, like caused a lot of people in the old world to think that maybe the Earth was a lot older than they had previously thought, because they were like, oh, these people have been around for a lot longer, or these people have been here, we haven't interacted with them. And I think that's really interesting.
Okay.
Cause people to reflect on the age of the Earth by the discovery of the New World.
You mentioning the New World just reminded me, I've recently encountered a video in which someone was claiming that the discussion about the inhabited antipodes of the Earth in Augustine of Hippo's writings was evidence that Augustine of Hippo was a flat earther, and it made me want to throw things.
Interesting.
Because you know what the antipodes are, right?
Tell me.
The antipode is just the opposite face of the Earth, of the globe, right? It's like if you were to dig down through the globe and come out the other side, like when your parents said you were going to dig a hole to China,
Yeah.
In most places, you wouldn't come out in China, but wherever you would come out, that's your antipode. So
Okay.
there was a debate over whether or not the antipodes of the known world, right? So like on the opposite side from where like Europe and North Africa and Asia were, whether that had land and whether it would be inhabited by humans if it did have land. And Augustine was of the opinion that it would not, because he didn't see how people could get there. So yeah, he said no. I don't think that if the antipodes have land, I don't think it's inhabited by humans, right? Because he thought of like how people get places, which in his day was mostly like hugging coastlines to go across oceans or trekking over the land. He didn't think that you could reasonably get to the antipodes that way because he imagined that they were a separate landmass. And yeah, a number of atheists have taken this discussion, which depends on St. Augustine believing in the globe as evidence that he was a flat earther.
Yeah.
And it really does make me want to throw things.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's so dumb. It rivals anything young Earth creationists do. When an atheist comes out and says, "Ha, Christians thought the Earth was flat. Look at Augustine of Hippo and his argument about the antipodes." Dude, that argument doesn't make any sense unless you accept that there's a globe. No flat earthers were talking about the antipodes. That's not how it works. All right, we are a little bit overdue for a break. We're going to take a quick break. I will be right back. Jackson will probably be right back. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. And so in the meantime, feel free to grab yourself a drink, grab yourself another snack, whatever it is. We're going to be looking at the teaser trailer for the next episode of Star Trek Adventures, which, if you watched FTFE stream today, you already saw, because guess who is the main speaking part in this trailer? That's right, it's FTFE, because he is our security officer. And today, we're getting a security officer's log instead of a captain's log. So we'll be right back. And in the meantime, please enjoy this little teaser for what's coming up ideally on Friday. Next time on Star Trek Endurance.
Security Officer's Log, Stardate 60672.8. The Kongzi is docked at Narendra Station for secondary warp core replacement. After we ejected it in an attempt to save the USS Ontario, I have been temporarily assigned to station security by Admiral Herbert. Apparently there has been a theft from a locker in one of the archaeology labs. Some typical artifacts from Alpha Tauri 2 have been stolen and I am in charge of the investigation. Of course, the captain has made the crew of the Kongzi available to assist me and the Admiral, and she is anticipating the new warp core will be operational in a matter of hours. The theft of such important artifacts directly from under the noses of both Starfleet and the Klingon Defense Force is troubling. Hopefully, I can get to the bottom of this and the culprits will be brought to justice. Ideally, including the return of the artifacts. Tilical technology is extremely dangerous, and having it in the wrong hands could spell disaster for the sector.
Discovering the identity of the culprit does not prove to be particularly difficult for a security officer as skilled as Tech, but finding them out in the Shackleton Expanse is another matter. If they find the perpetrator, that will be the least of their worries, as the stolen technology proves to be as dangerous as Tech feared, and it is most certainly in the wrong hands. Can the crew catch up with the thief and recover the artifacts before disaster strikes? Find out next time in The Orion Heist, only on the Top Hats Off channel. We are back. Welcome back. Thank you for sticking with me, everyone who did, which looks like virtually everyone. Also, I gotta say, Heather Kuhn almost got me here. because I was getting back and I've had a little bit to drink. And Heather Kuhn says, actually, it's pronounced, and then I didn't carefully read the next bit of International Phonetic Alphabet. But Heather tried to tell me that antipodes was pronounced antipodes. No, it's not. I don't believe you. But I did not actually look very carefully, and so at first I was like, okay, wait, tell me again when I'm more sober. And then I looked again, and I was like, wait a minute. You sneaky. You almost got me there. Almost, but not quite. I didn't quite fall for it. All right, so the quick after the break thing is this channel is almost entirely supported directly by my viewers, whether it be through Patreon, channel memberships, super chats, super stickers, all that stuff. It really, really matters. Without that stuff, I can't keep doing this. So it's one of the reasons we have super chat goals. It's one of the reasons why I plug my Patreon, the channel memberships. All of that matters. So yeah, if you're enjoying what I do, if you think that this channel is valuable, if it adds something to your life, and you can afford to do so, that's very important. I don't want money from anyone who can't afford it, but if you can afford to do so, please consider joining the Patreon. It's linked in the description. It starts at $1 a month. You can get a 15% discount if you do an annual pledge. You can get early access to my scripted videos. It's usually like 4 to 5 months in advance. It also gives you access to my Discord server that's just for fans. Had a little bit of a brain fog moment there, I guess. Maybe I'm fading. I'll be gone soon. My brain is just shutting down as a result of long-term exposure to creationism. But yeah, also the channel memberships, that starts at $1.99. There is no annual discount or anything like that, but you also, in addition to getting early access to videos and the Discord, you can also get things like your name will be green in chat unless you're a moderator, in which case it'll still be blue, but you'll also get a channel badge, which you can see a bunch of people here in chat have. There's also a few, but not many, but there are a few member-only videos on the channel. Most of them are sort of like behind-the-scenes type stuff, but like, yeah, you can watch them. So yeah, and also if you're an annual or a monthly thing isn't your deal, or you just don't like joining clubs, I don't know. There's also always super chats. I have a wish list on Amazon. It's in the description. I also have merch. I really, really like it when people send me pictures of them using my merch. In fact, I'll tell you this. I've had that merch store for like 5 years. It has made, as far as I know, under $400. So I basically don't make money on it. But it's a lot of fun anyway when someone sends me a picture of their Dapper mug, or of them wearing a Dapper t-shirt or a Dapper hoodie or something like that. So like, that's why I would say do that. The same thing is kind of true for the wish list. Most of it is just stuff to get happy brain chemicals going in my brain. Because especially lately, those have been hard to come by. But also, we just got 5 gifted memberships from Lieutenant Matt the Navigator. So I am done now with my commercial. So I will take 5 drinks of this mango cider while Jackson Wheat recites as much as he can of the Edgar Allan Poe poem, The Raven, from memory. Jackson, go.
I don't.
Just do it.
I don't.
Say quote The Raven.
I could read it.
No.
I can't quote it from memory. I'm sorry. I can't quote any Poe from memory.
Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, suddenly there came a tapping as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. You can't do any of that, Jackson?
I cannot. Although not long ago,
offended.
Camilla and I watched Fall of the House of Usher, which is
Really
about
good.
a bunch of Poe stories. Yeah, it was so
Yeah,
good.
it's a bunch of Poe stories, all with the Fall of the House of Usher story as the like wraparound story. It's really, really well done.
Yeah, I mean, I
loved it.
everything Mike Flanagan does. I love all of his stuff. And he did Stephen King, I think it was a novel, last year, which was titled Life of Chuck, which has Tom Hiddleston in it, and
Nice.
Yeah, it was really good.
Actually, I've been thinking, I told Vishanti this. I was like, we need to do like a Mike Flanagan watch marathon where we just watch pretty much everything he's done.
That's fair.
And for some
Well,
reason,
Night
she's not a
Mask.
big fan of Hush, so apparently we're just not doing Hush, but like, we'll go to like Oculus, I guess. Which, have you seen Oculus?
No.
Go watch Oculus. Trust me.
I
If you like
I-
Mike Flanagan,
do
watch
like Mike
Oculus.
Flanagan.
Go for it.
I think that Midnight Mass is still my favorite.
I mean, he spent so long trying to get that made. In fact, the book that the main character in Hush is writing is Midnight Mass. Or no, she already wrote that one. That was her previous hit book. So,
Interesting.
yeah. All right. I'm going to hit play. Because we're not supposed to be talking here about like vampires and ghosts and stuff. We're supposed to be talking about something much, much scarier. Pseudoscience. Because pseudoscience is real and it actually gets people killed. Unlike ghosts
True.
and vampires, which don't. Well, actually, they do, but only by people who believe them to be true and then go kill innocent people believing them to be vampires. So I guess vampires do get people killed. But not by the vampires killing people. Anyway, you know what? That's not important. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, so I've been listening rather than watching. And what in the ever-loving F is Charles Jackson wearing? It looks like a bad jacket with a scarf over a t-shirt. And a gigantic cross necklace. Like, that thing makes like an Eastern Christian pectoral cross for a bishop look like, like you guys need to step it up. How do I know how Jesus-y you are if your cross isn't like the size of your head? It's come on, guys. All those bishops out there wearing their silly round miters instead of a proper conical type arch miter like the good Catholics wear. All you guys need bigger pectoral crosses. Come on, step it up to Charles Jackson levels. I have no idea why I just decided to pick on Eastern Christian bishops. I'm sorry. Sorry to all the Christian bishops out there that are Eastern Christian bishops. My bad. Except you, Patriarch Carol. You can go die in a fire. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, thanks. I hate it. Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Yeah, by the way, not a big fan of Patriarch Kirill of Moscow. Nope. To be fair, it looks like a bunch of his bishops aren't big fans either, because both the Orthodox Church outside of Russia and Rokor, which are both descended from various aspects of the Russian Orthodox Church, wrote letters condemning both the war and Patriarch Kirill's role in sanctioning it. So, even within the Russian Orthodox Church, people aren't super happy. So props to Rokor and the Orthodox Church in America for complaining about Patriarch Kirill being a dick.
Disasters is data, evidence, facts, observation.
Thalakalian Kennedy said, Jesus, what did Patriarch Kirill do? Oh, he's been blessing Putin's war and war machines and soldiers and telling them that God is on their side, actually, as they go kill other Eastern Orthodox Christians. Yeah, which hasn't gone over well among the rest of the Eastern Orthodox Christianity. In fact, Patriarch Kirill is now out of communion with a large swath of the Eastern Orthodox Church, which means that the Russian Orthodox Church kind of used to be the biggest Eastern Orthodox Church. And now it's sort of its own thing because so many of them have decided to excommunicate him for now. It's actually not clear to me what the status is of like every other like random parishioner or priest or bishop or whatever. Like if you're Russian and you like show up at a Greek church, will they actually still commune you? I don't know. My guess is that not every bishop has the same answer. So yeah, I don't know. If you're Russian and you try to take communion at like a church under, say, Patriarch Bartholomew of Constantinople, let me know in chat. My guess is that none of my audience are in the position of being Russian Orthodox Christians who are trying to commune at a Greek Orthodox parish, but what do I know? Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, some people can wear across the size of their cranial vault with 3 grams of gold. Some of them brag about Mensa memberships. Yep, they do. Anyone who brags about Mensa memberships, I immediately think this guy must actually be a moron. Because remember, a flat earth adult actress managed to get into Mensa, and she's a flat earther. Yeah. Although, I mean, all of her stuff was definitely not like, or at least as far as I know, it wasn't explicit. So I don't know if it's actually fair to call her an adult actress. Maybe just a adult material producer. I don't know. I just noticed some of the wiring is bare on my mouse. I need to get a new mouse. Oh well, here we go.
Science, real science, not vain imaginations, but
Yep. Charles, real science is the stuff that you find in science journals. The thing you have not cited once in any of the talks we've covered. So I don't think you get to say what real science is, because it seems like you either can't identify it or you want people to not know what it is. I don't know which of those it is. But Chuck, feel free to email me and let me know.
Real science is destroying evolution. So the Altenberg 16 got together and decided to come up with something past the modern synthesis of Darwin.
Oh, we're doing extended evolutionary synthesis. I don't have the energy. Jackson, can you tell people why the extended evolutionary synthesis is dumb at worst and redundant at best?
They're just a bunch of whiners.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. They're just whiners. Sorry.
Why don't you guys incorporate things like maternal inheritance? It's like we did. Well,
why
what?
don't you guys talk about epigenetics and
We did.
Evo and what the frick else they whine about?
Basically, it's just a
neutral
bunch
theory.
of neutral theory. It's a bunch of stuff that's already part of evolutionary biology and that no one is ignoring, except the creationists.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the extended synthesis people they're not coming up with new mechanisms.
Mm-mm.
They're not like proposing new ways for evolution or biology in general to work. They're just writing lots of pieces, opinion pieces, a lot of them that are just like, I don't think that we incorporate neutral theory enough into population genetics. Like, okay, can you like quantify that in any way, shape, or form? How much more do you want?
It's like
what does that mean?
It's like me wandering into a mechanic shop and saying, "Hey, I think you guys don't appreciate the importance of a serpentine belt." And it's like, what are you talking about? Yes, they do. They replace those all the time when they wear out. They're very important. Everyone knows that. It's like, no, I don't think you focus on it too much. You guys, you're focusing too much on the cylinders and the engine. You should value the serpentine belts more. Like, how much more? I don't know, just more. Just more, I think. Yeah, it's probably the most important part of the car. Yeah. That's basically what they're doing.
Basically summed it up, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good summation. I mean, yeah, it's like there's nothing else really to say about it. Yeah.
Yep. So that's what we're dealing with. Also, I want to point out that if the extended evolutionary synthesis people were 100% right about all of their complaints, and we adopted whatever crazy nonsense that they want us to adopt, do you know how much it would help young Earth creationism?
How much?
Literally zero. Because the extended evolutionary synthesis,
it's still evolution.
Yeah, it's still just evolution. It's just evolution with extra bells and whistles that these guys think aren't on evolution, but that actually are. Whenever a creationist starts touting the extended evolutionary synthesis people, all they're telling you is that they either have absolutely no clue what the current status of evolutionary biology is, or they have no clue what the extended evolutionary synthesis people are on about, or they just have no clue about science in general. Or they're lying, which is also a strong possibility. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, why doesn't aerodynamics incorporate incompressible flow? Yeah, that's a great question. Why doesn't it? It should. There should be much more incompressible flow. Now, part of it might be that air is in fact compressible. It could be that. It could be that. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Called genetic plasticity. And Massimo Pigliucci, the head of the...
it's usually called phenotypic plasticity, as far as I know. Jackson, is that... Am I wrong?
What was the phrase he used?
He said genetic plasticity.
Oh, yeah, no, it's phenotypic because the
the genes aren't changing. Yeah.
What? So the whole point is that all right.
The whole point is different phenotypes from the same genotype. Yeah, it turns out that one genotype can result in different phenotypes depending on the life history of the organism. So, as an example, right, if you spend a whole lot of time doing a lot of running, you might get bigger lungs or a more efficient heart or like, I don't know, a higher red blood cell count as your like just normal red blood cell count. There you go. If you spend more time doing like, I don't know, gymnastics and you're doing stuff like on the, what's the thing where they do all sorts of flips and stuff around a bar? What do you call that? A high bar? Is that it?
I think that's what that's called.
Sure. If you do that a whole lot, your finger bones will curve actually. Yeah. That's phenotypic plasticity. It's basically organisms change their anatomy and physiology to adapt to their life history in ways that do not cause changes in genetics. That's something that is well incorporated into evolutionary biology.
And in addition to that, the environment, the environment itself impacts the creation of the phenotype. So like if you live in, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, so like if you're like born in a particular environment, like maybe on average, like it's a drier environment, so this is going to impact like your the way that your skin heals, or or whatever. Like as Dapper mentioned, there's all these things, and there are mechanisms in evolutionary biology for like incorporating these into your genes. So there's what's called a genetic accommodation, and so like what you see, for instance, it's like Australian tiger snakes, I think they're called. Like when these snakes wind up on other islands around Australia, what initially happens is the size of their head. There's a high degree of variability in the size of their head when they arrive on these new islands, but over time, after a number of generations, the size of the head becomes less variable. So these genotypes are selected for either a smaller head or a larger head, whatever. And so the genotypes that are more likely to cause a larger head, for instance, are the ones that remain, and so that phenotypic plasticity becomes embedded within the genome. And so, but again, this is perfectly normal evolutionary stuff, because this is about variations in the genome. It's not even epigenetic transmission or inheritance. This is genotypes that result in certain phenotypes that can be impacted by the environment, and selection operates on the genotypes that cause the phenotypes, right? This is still the exact same process, just because your phenotype can adapt to the environment in certain small ways, like this doesn't impact the underlying mechanisms of evolution whatsoever. So I don't know why he's bringing this up. I mean, he probably is bringing it up because he has no idea what phenotypic plasticity is. I mean, he said genetic plasticity. So
I know why he's bringing it up. Because he's trying to sow a narrative about dissent among the scientific community, as if that were an unusual condition. As if scientists weren't all a bunch of petty assholes who were all trying to bring each other down.
Yeah.
Which, okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's also kind of true. Scientists love to bring each other down, because proving someone wrong gets you accolades.
The Darwin Coalition, and you
Never heard of a Darwin Coalition, but okay. I don't even know what that would mean.
I'm gonna have a band called the Darwin Coalition.
It is a good band name. That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea. All right, everybody, start making your audition tapes to send to Jackson Wheat for his to join his band. Templar Warden for 10 Kiwi bucks says, "Well, I think you need to think about belts more, so much that you need a belt guy job title. Yes, that will make everything more difficult for no benefits." So, exactly, right? Oh, man. By the way, that was one of the very, very few times I've ever done a car analogy. Unlike the average evangelical preacher, I am very, very loath to make car or sport analogies. Yeah. I remember the pastor at a church I went to as a kid, and I swear he had like 3 or 4 different sport analogies for every single sermon. It was frankly impressive how many he managed to work into every single sermon, especially given that even at the time I was like, I don't care about any of that stuff. How can anyone think about it this much? I don't get it. I get it more now because I'm older and it's easier for me to put myself in other people's shoes. But yeah, back then I was just like, whew, I don't know how he does this. I couldn't possibly.
used to teach at University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and is now at SUNY, the State University of New York campuses. But he came up with
Okay, I just want to point out we had an edit there.
Yeah, we sure did.
So
And he was still trying to remember the name.
yeah, but also that means we have an editor. And
Yeah.
it has not been very evident up until now that there was an editor for this. And I now question many, many, many choices.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, for
You're right.
instance, an editor could do things like take these slides and put them as the full screen while Jackson is concentrating on them. But the editor has not done that. So, like, when I thought this was just the raw footage, that didn't bother me, right? Because, like, whatever, that's just, it is what it is.
right.
But now I know that it's not. And I am even more confused. So, yeah. Oh,
Mistakes were made.
one of the people I was talking about was the Flurf who was in Mensa, and I know the person as Orphan Red, but apparently there are other names that they go by. I don't know. Orphan Red never terribly interested me because, like, her Flat Earth stuff wasn't unique enough to bother with, right? Like, there are some Flat Earthers who come up with absolute nonsense on their own, but hers was always just copy pasted from, like, Eric Dubé or whatever. I was like, I don't care. Only thing she had going for her on top of that was, like, giggles, I guess. She did a lot of giggling. And it was clearly, like, an affectation. Like, that wasn't her natural, like, thing that she was just giggling because she thought, or that was her natural reaction. She was clearly trying to, like, be cutesy. And I do not respond well to people trying to be cutesy towards me. It doesn't work very well for me. I'm just like, I don't care. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that just makes me a curmudgeon. Am I a curmudgeon, Good Jackson?
I don't think so.
Okay. I might be a curmudgeon. I feel curmudgeonly sometimes. You ever feel curmudgeonly? Like, maybe I actually do
I'm
care
not
that those
sure.
kids get off my damn lawn.
I don't have a lawn.
I don't really have. Well, I've got a yard. There's very rarely grass in it because it's Tucson. But yeah, Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says Charles Jackson editor possesses similar competence as Charles Jackson displays at Science Communication. Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah, that sounds about right. Which is sad. Like, do you think Charles Jackson himself is the editor and he just is bad? He just, like, doesn't know how to use editing software?
That could be the case. I certainly wouldn't put it past him, honestly.
Okay. I will say, whenever I use new editing software that I haven't used before, I do start to feel like a complete moron. Because, like, I don't know any of the hotkeys or anything, and I'm just, like, fumbling around, like, where's the cut function on this? I don't even know how to cut. So, like, yeah, it's why I don't ever change editing software. I just don't. Because I don't want to feel that dumb again. I did it actually once for an editing commission, and I hated every moment of that edit. Not the actual final edit that I sent off. I thought that was pretty good work, and so did the customer. But, like, yeah, it was rough. Also, we just got another 10 on the GoFundMe. Thank you very much. All right, Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, is Dapper a curmudgeon? Exhibit A, pelagic tunic. Don't you dare bring up the pelagic tunicates. How dare you? You know what, everyone? From now on, I revoke Lieutenant Math Navigator's membership. He's no longer a member. So I'm going to give his membership to Kimolu. If you don't know who that is, you should go watch Lower Decks. Here we go.
This, and the Altenberg 16 created a new version of evolution that has
No, they didn't.
nothing to do with fossils.
Also not true.
And has nothing to do.
I guess a bunch of them, like most of them, I feel like are like geneticists or cell biology people. So is that what he means? I feel like, because like Noble is like a cell biology guy.
Yeah, none of the guys are paleontologists, but like,
yeah,
nothing but the extended evolutionary synthesis would like get rid of paleontology or not use paleontology to help like calibrate like different things about like divergence times and ancestral states and whatnot.
Yeah. Literally none of their work like addresses any of that. So
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $2 says, I rest my case. I mean, fair. You have demonstrated that I am indeed a curmudgeon. It's all right. You know what? I feel like at a certain point in every dinosaur's life, he or she gets to be a curmudgeon. And perhaps after these 150 million years or so, I am just at that point in my dinosaur life that I get to be a curmudgeon. And I don't know, like, Hey, kids, stop touching my psychads.
With DNA.
Every time he makes that stupid grin and starts nodding his head like that, you know that whatever he just said is incredibly stupid. That's his tell. Whenever he gets super excited and starts nodding, that's when he has said the stupidest things that he's going to say. That's how you know. I'll bet he's a terrible poker player.
That grin's just so large when he has like a winning hand. He's like, oh yeah. And everyone else is like, okay.
And his fold. He's like, oh, I only win the basic buy-in on the pot. Oh no. I only got everyone's buy-in. How come everyone always only puts in the buy-in whenever I have a winning hand? As he's sitting there grinning because he got 2 aces.
Right. He's like Kim Kardashian when she wore the sunglasses so everyone could see her hand.
I actually kind of want to see Charles Jackson try to play poker. I think it might actually be funny, but he might be one of those like, oh, gambling is a sin kind of guys. And to be fair, gambling is super dangerous. And like, I don't recommend most people gamble because it's addicting and destructive. But like, also, I don't think you're going to go to hell because you played a hand of poker. So like, I don't know.
I guess it's magic and miracles.
What about the extended evolutionary synthesis is magic or miracles? It's all just various genetic stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like genetic
I don't
drift for neutral theory or like epigenetics and stuff. None of that's magical. All of it's well understood.
Literally very, very well understood processes. Like, I mean, you have like methyltransferase, which is an enzyme that
I'm taking
puts
a drink.
methyl group on either DNA or on like a histone protein, which causes the chromatin to bundle up in such a way that it can't be read by RNA polymerase. And like, what aspect of that is magic?
Right.
Genuinely,
right? And it's nothing, right? And that's actually one of the reasons that the extended evolutionary synthesis guys are just being silly, is because it's not some magical new thing that they've thought up. These are just things that we already understand and aren't new. I mean, in relative terms, obviously. They're new compared to Darwin, but
sure.
They're not new compared to like the cutting edge of biology.
Right.
Oh, Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for another $5 says, I do not understand how this man has gone through life without any nose fractures. Right? My goodness. Look, I don't think I would actually punch Charles Jackson unless, he was actually physically threatening me or someone else. But holy crap, can I imagine it would feel so good? Look, there's a lot of things I would never actually do that I know I would feel good doing them if I did them. A lot of things. And one of them is walking up while Charles Jackson has that grin and maybe not punching him, maybe just giving him a Will Smith slap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it. I don't think anyone else should do it. Don't go ahead and batter Charles Jackson out there. Please don't pretend that that's what I'm saying. I definitely don't mean that at all. But holy crap. Maybe I would put his face on the face of like the first boxer in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out for the NES. And, slap a different sprite on there so it's Charles Jackson. That's about as far as I might go. Pillowpunk, who's been a member for 31 months, says, I don't understand it. It's magic, simple as. Yeah, that is probably his thought process is, well, I don't understand how epigenetics works, so it must be magic.
I mean, it can be complicated, so I guess that's magic.
For sure, yeah. I mean, lots of biology is complicated. In fact, overly complicated, really. All right, here we go. Oh, wait, nope, $5. Lieutenant Math Navigators will not want to hear more from Bad Jackson. So he's just trickling $5 super chats at me, and I'm okay with that. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, I'm not advocating, but I'm fully aware that there are many people with less self-control than me. Yeah, if you're someone with less self-control than, say, like maybe me or Matt here, maybe don't go to see Charles Jackson in person. Because I do not need to hear that, I watched Dapper Dinosaur and then I decided to slap Charles Jackson. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't.
At least give a different worse YouTuber's name. Say that, like, I don't know, who's the guy with the dead rat alarm clock? What's his name? Now I can't remember. Asmongold. Say Asmongold told you to do
what?
it.
What?
You don't know about Asmongold's dead rat alarm clock?
What the frick?
Yeah,
What?
according
What
to
does that
Asmongold,
mean?
according to him, for a while he used the corpse of a rat as his alarm clock because in the morning the sun would hit it and it would heat up and then the smell would wake him up.
That has to have been a joke.
I mean, have you seen his stream setup?
I don't watch Asmongold. I'm
I
sorry.
don't either, but I'm aware of the pictures that
No.
he has shown of where he streams, and it's just littered with moldy food containers and drink bottles and whatnot.
That's embarrassing. Like, because
Mhm.
he's
Numerous
probably
times.
wealthy enough
Oh yeah,
to like have a cleaning person.
numerous times
so I-
cockroaches have
I-
crawled across his desk or his camera.
At some point, that is a choice. That is an
Yep.
active choice that he is making as a YouTuber.
So in conclusion, if you decide to blame a YouTuber for your criminality, please blame Asmongold and not me. Although even Asmongold has been like, hey, I think Ice
Or-
might be going too far. And it's like, guys, you lost Asmongold, the trash person.
What's the name of the bald beanie guy who gets money from
Tim
Russia?
Pool. That's Tim
Tim
Pool.
Pool. Yeah, blame him. I don't know. He's
Yeah, blame
too much of
him.
an idiot.
Or
so-
Asmon, yeah, one of those two. Tim Pool,
Yeah.
Asmongold. I don't know.
They believe in miracles without believing in God.
Well, first of all, like that's a thing you can do, right? Like you can have a definition for miracle that is like, oh, like suspensions of the natural order as a result of some kind of supernatural agency, and then not believe in a supreme creator deity with like the various triomnies and whatnot, right? Like you don't need to do that to believe in a miracle. So like that's not that crazy. But also remember, we haven't heard a single miracle that these guys believe in. That's just made up. For another $5, the attendant Math Navigator says, my YouTube froze right after Jackson learned about the corpse alarm. I thought Jackson was speechless for a solid minute. I mean, it would be appropriate. If anything would make you speechless, it should be learning about Asmongold's rat alarm clock.
I'm sure he is wealthy enough to afford like cleaning people, an exterminator, and so I can't help but conclude that this is a conscious choice
Oh, yeah.
that he is making.
He has decided to be the Frank Reynolds character, the trash man, from the time that Frank Reynolds tried to be like a small-time pro wrestler in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he just ate trash and
That's so
used a trash
bizarre.
can to beat people. That's Asmongold's life, is to just unironically be that guy. Olivia Williams for $6.99 Beaverbucks says other options: Andrew Tate, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens. Yeah, those are
All
other
the
good
above,
ones.
yeah.
Those are some good options
Candace-
for who to blame your
Candace
criminality
Owens-
on.
It like every time I hear from her, she has sunk yet lower. I mean, 'cause
Yeah.
she became an anti-Semite, like a full-blown anti-Semite.
She didn't become an anti-Semite.
Okay, all right. She became vocal about it. I
There
should
you
say.
go.
She became vocal about her anti-Semitism. She is a dinosaur denier. She
Mhm.
actually thinks that dinosaurs are fake and like a Jewish hoax or whatever.
No, specifically, they
Um,
are fake and gay. And I do want to point out
Yeah.
that while dinosaurs are not fake, based on how gay modern dinosaurs are, I think it's probably reasonable to say that dinosaurs are, in fact, on the whole, kind of gay.
I mean, okay, you got me there. But also, what'd she say about? Didn't she say she was like a centrist or something on the flat Earth debate?
Yeah,
On the shape of the Earth?
So for a while she was like, yeah, I don't know if it's flat or a globe. And then apparently she sent her producer down to the final experiment, and he reported back that the Earth is a globe, Candace. So apparently she's backed off from that one. Because her
Well,
producer
the
told her the
bar-
sun was up in Antarctica.
The bar may be in the core of the Earth, but there is still a bar.
Yeah.
I guess.
Also, she's being sued by the Macron family in France.
Oh, that's
for her claiming that
She was like transvestigating them.
yeah,
wasn't
she was
or something like that?
transvestigating Emmanuel Macron's wife, whose first name escapes me. Sorry, Emmanuel Macron's wife. I don't like that I forgot your name, but I mean, you weren't in charge of France, so I guess there's that. But to be fair, it is a weird relationship. Like she's 20 years older than he was, and like their relationship started when it was he was very young when they started their relationship. So like, there's some stuff that at least for an American would seem kind of scandalous there, but there's just no evidence that she's a trans person. And even if she were, who cares?
Yeah, I cannot bring myself to care about like any person being trans. I just cannot. I don't care.
Like, I care to the degree that like, hey, if you tell me that you're trans and like maybe I've known you before you transition and you want me to refer to you in a different way, like I'm gonna do my best to remember that, and I'm probably gonna screw it up sometimes. And like, please understand that I'm working on it. And you know, I've spent a long time referring to you one way, and that's not something I'm gonna be able to change overnight because I already have those neural pathways ingrained in my brain. But I'm working on it. That's the time I care. The rest of the time, it's like, oh, this actress might actually be a trans woman. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't care. Like, I remember I found out that the person who played Pinhead in the Hellraiser remake recently, trans woman. I found that I was like, oh, huh, okay. And that's what I did with that information. Because what else am I supposed to do with that information? Arrow Dodger for $4.99 says, Charles Jackson is the kind of guy who skips the secret armory room in C2A5E WAD. I don't know if I know that WAD. Do you know what a WAD is, Jackson?
Like a wad of cash?
No, a .wad file, .wad file.
Oh, no, I don't. Is that a lot of files?
It's a lot of files
But
if you do a lot of stuff with the classic Doom.
Oh, okay.
That's how you load in like mods and saved games and whatnot. The real your name is somewhat cut off because of my stupid tiny little screen here. Sorry, give me a second. The real Tim Meredith for 2 Beaverbucks says AIG is a tube of cock, and I will take a drink because they sure are. Except they're less useful because you know, you can use cock for all sorts of stuff. You can't use them for much. At least nothing that's worthwhile. All right, here we go.
I told the Atheist Club at University of Texas, El Paso. It took 5 hours, but I got them to admit they believed in miracles too. Okay, the Big Bang violates all.
I'm just going to take a drink for a story that didn't happen. I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. I think Charles Jackson might think it happened. I'm pretty sure it didn't, though.
All these laws of science, including the first and second laws of thermodynamics. And Isaac Asimov said the second law of thermodynamics is the most powerful generalization about the universe mankind has ever been able to come up with.
I mean, I don't know how to assess that claim, but like, sure, whatever. Roshina for $4.99 says, remember, Dapper only knows you by name. If you change it, you're an entirely new person to Dapper. That's generally true. Yep. We actually had this discussion on the Discord where someone had a different name than what they have, a different name and profile picture than what they have here on YouTube. And as far as I was concerned, those were 2 entirely different people. And then people were like, why didn't you click on their name to see what other names they go by? It's like, because there's hundreds of you and I'm not going to do that for everyone.
Right.
I don't have the time or the memory capacity for that. So it doesn't matter. So yeah, please do know that with very few exceptions, if you change your name and profile picture to something entirely different, as far as I'm concerned, you are a new person. Which means on the one hand, it's very easy for me to forget all my problems with you if I ever had any. Just change your profile picture and your name and your display name. Boom, a brand new guy. So like, I don't know. Not that I have like a whole bunch of grudges against audience members. You guys are great. The Deplorable Elk for 100 Argentinian pesos, and is also the only guy who ever really pays in Argentinian pesos, so remember who that is. Says, conservatives transvestigated Dylan Mulvaney and concluded she was born female. Wait, what? Forcibly transitioned into a boy and then retransitioned into a woman herself, making her the first FTMTF. No, that can't be true. Is that true? Did they actually... What?
I'm not going to look it up, so I'm just going to believe it.
That is so dumb. Why? What? Oh, I have to drink. I'm sorry. That broke me a little bit. What is wrong with these people? Jeez, transvestigators.
I do like
a whole crazy ball of insanity. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's always really funny when they like say to a trans person that they're like who is like, you know, female to male or something like that, and they go, you're a male and you'll always be a male, and they're like, okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's
like,
the meme
yeah?
where like there's a bunch of people talking. and someone comes up and says something, and then one of them like just gives a thumbs up, and then they go back to talking because they
Right.
just don't care. Yeah, it's like you'll always be a male. Bunch of trans women talking. One of them just like, okay, buddy, and just goes back to their conversation because like who cares?
I mean, like when it's someone who is like a trans man, and they say like you're a man, you can't say you're trans, and the trans person's like, all right.
Jillian Wren is telling me that they think the opposite, but same about Elliot Page. So Elliot Page was apparently actually a male who became a trans woman and then transitioned to being a cis man. Is that what happened? Is that the idea? Is that what's supposed to be happening?
What?
Oh my God, I'm getting a headache. Oh, I can't imagine caring that much about that question as to whether or not someone has transitioned or not. And then
They must have a lot
also
of free
caring
time.
so much that you're like, what if they transitioned twice though? I don't know, man. What if? Who cares? Do you like Elliot Page's movies and TV roles? Well, then keep watching. If not, then don't watch. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, what is wrong with these people? You want the answer chronologically or alphabetically? I probably don't want the answer, honestly. I probably don't want to fill my head with whatever has infected the transvestigators. Jeez. How dare we even consider that maybe we should just let people live their lives?
In an article from Smithsonian Magazine called In the Game of Energy and Thermodynamics, You Can't Even Break Even. He said it's the most powerful law we've ever discovered, and the Big Bang goes against.
Dutch Tunicket Official for $2 says, conservatives care way too much about gender. Yeah, that's broadly true. Yeah.
That is true.
I have trouble imagining what it's like to care that much, because I've said this before. I don't consider gender identity to be like a big part of who I am. It's why I don't bother with like telling people what pronouns I want them to use, because I don't care. Like most people use he, and I'm very masculine and presenting overall. But like if you want to start saying she about Dapper Dinosaur, I don't care. Go for it. Like whatever. I get that other people, it's a really important part of like their identity and it's integral to who they are. But like, and I can understand that, right? But what I can't understand is caring so much about gender that you care about it in other people who you don't even know. That I cannot wrap my brain around. Like, it just does not compute. I cannot figure out any way in which I would ever care that much about the gender of people I don't even know. I only care about any of your genders to the degree that I don't want to misgender you, because you will be offended. And I don't want to cause offense to you. But like, if I knew that no one here would be offended, I just wouldn't care. Like, the thing that I never ask myself when like encountering like an audience member in Discord or in chat or on Patreon or whatever is like, now is this person a man or a woman? I don't care. I don't care. I'm just happy you're here. I'm happy you're enjoying the show. Whatever
All
you
I
have
am
going on.
is a man. I want the world in my hand.
I just can't understand the transvestigators. It makes no sense to me. It's one of the kinds of dumb that I don't know that I'll ever try to cover, because I just don't even understand the motives. Lieutenant Matt, I guess the motives are just hatred, right? The motives are just, I hate trans people. That's what
pretty
the
much
motive
it,
is.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I can't understand it then. Because I'm trying to think about this like there's some kind of actual rational basis for it, but then I realized, no, it's just bigotry.
Nope. Yep.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's the same thing as like caring that someone has like one black great grandparent and now they shouldn't be using the same water fountain as I am. Okay, cool. So you're just an asshole. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, imagine thinking modern misrepresentations of historical gender roles are an immutable part of the universe, right? Oh, that is a good point. I like that point. That is awesome. Josh Wiggies for $5 says, I don't have enough old-fashioned in my mug to deal with how dumb trans investigators are. Fair. At least, as far as I know, Charles Jackson is not a transvestigator, so he's got that going for him. He could go lower. There is, in fact, a place he has yet to sink to. So, good job, Charles Jackson, for not being a transvestigator. That I know of.
Against it, and goes against the first law of thermodynamics as well, that matter and energy cannot be created or destroyed.
Hey, here's the thing. Neither evolution nor the Big Bang go against either of the first two laws of thermodynamics, or the 0th law, or the 3rd law for that matter. Because yeah, there's a 0th law of thermodynamics.
Doesn't like Stephen Hawking famously say in A Brief History of Time that like the Big Bang is the ultimate free lunch?
That
Because it
does
required
sound like something he said.
no like it required no addition of energy, right? It was the whole thing about it is that maybe was that Stephen Hawking or was that Lawrence?
So-
Either way, it was a physicist, but anyway.
Yeah, the initial state of the Big Bang is an incredibly low entropy state. And then from there, the entropy of the universe as a whole increases, right? But that is of the universe as a whole. In local areas, entropy can actually decrease as long as there is a commensurate
Right.
increase in entropy across the universe as a whole, right? So that's what an energy gradient is. Or what you can do with an energy gradient is what I should say, right? So like you can think about it with just like heat engines, right? So you take heat, use it to boil some water, the boil spins a fan somewhere, then you collect that steam back as, condensed water, cycle it back into the boiler, right? That depends on a constant energy gradient. It depends on your heat sink being colder than your heat source. And that requires energy. It requires you to add energy to keep the heat up, and or it requires you to use some kind of heat pump to keep the heat sink cool. And that's going to use up energy. And you only have so much energy available in terms of fuel or whatever else you're using, right? But if there's a consistent energy gradient, then in that system, it's getting a constant influx of energy. Entropy can go down. It's fine. And Earth is a system with a constant energy gradient because in the day, the sun heats it up, and at night, it radiates that heat away. Ideally, it gets rid of almost all of it that it got from the sun, because otherwise it starts heating up, which is a thing we're doing. Yeah. So for all those creationists who care so much about thermodynamics, but who then, deny the basic implications of thermodynamics in terms of global warming, yeah, you're just a bunch of dishonest liars.
Might as well say photosynthesis is also like contra, the second law of thermodynamics. So
absolutely.
Because your product has less entropy than the starting materials.
Yeah. Olivia Williams for $6.99 Beaverbuck says, remember when the peak of masculinity was wearing powdered wigs and crying and wearing high heels? Yeah, actually I do. I do remember that. And let's not forget pantyhose. Invented for men's fashion. Yep. All right, here we go.
So I told them, I said, you believe in miracles, you believe the Big Bang goes against all the laws of science.
All the laws of science, everybody. That goes against the ideal gas laws somehow. The Big Bang. Yep. Something about the Big Bang violates the ideal gas law. Coulomb's law. Nope. Big Bang violates Coulomb's law. How? I don't know. I don't know. What's your favorite
Dolo's
law?
law of irreversibility.
There you go. Dolo's law of irreversibility. Big Bang.
Not
no.
technically a law, but still.
It's close. What other favorite laws do you have? Put some of your favorite laws that the Big Bang violates allegedly in chat, everybody. I want to see as many scientific laws as possible in the chat here. Garfnoble says the Carnot equation, right? Yeah, the Carnot equation and Carnot efficiency are about heat pumps. And yep, they play into entropy. We hit the goal? We did hit the goal. Oh my.
Yay, go.
English as she is spoke reading. So here's what's probably going to happen. It probably means we're going to go a little bit long, and I'm not going to be doing a movie night tonight because I am extremely tired. I need to go to bed, quite frankly. I've been tired for like the whole day. It's been weird and rough. Okay, so this is still from the section of vocabulary terms. What we're going to do is we're going to read pages 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay. Under trees. The lote tree, plural apparently, is lotos. Chestnut tree, not the chestnut tree, the chestnut-tree. Service tree, ruby tree, and linden tree. Under flowers, anemone, fair enough. Blue bottle. Milfoils, not familiar with that one. Hank, I don't know that one. Turnsol. Under hunting, we have hunting dog, relay dog, hound dog, hound's fee, picker, gunpowder, priming powder, and huntsman. But not huntsman. Huntsman is two different words. So apparently,
Okay.
this is about hunting men. Which, okay. Colors: white, gridolin, gray, musk, and red. Of those, as far as I can tell, 2 are colors. For 200 Argentinian pesos, the deplorable elk says, my favorite law is that in Argentina, if you have 7 children of the same gender in a row, I think you mean in a row, the president becomes godparent to the 7th. That's why we don't have werewolves. Does the Big Bang violate that? That is a, I don't even know how to react to that. I have no words, but I'm going to go ahead and say yes. The Big Bang violates that law. And hey, guess who just got some free pizza? Let's see. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, please turn in your Pew phrase book to Second Idiotisms chapter 4. Yes. All right, let's see. We got some laws in here. Gravity, first law of flurfs. Okay, yeah. The laws of engagement, Lenz's law. Ooh, that's a good one. The law of identity. Nice. Murphy's law. Ooh. All right. Yeah, we got another Murphy's law. Beer's law. All right, get some good ones. Yeah, Ben gets to eat it. Well, he might end up eating tomorrow night because I'm going to bed. Metals and minerals. Starch is the first one. Starch. Cooper, not copper. Cooper.
Cooper.
Latin. Plaster. And vitriol.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be like obsidian. Common stones, lodestones, brick, white lead, gumstone, weights, counterpoise, a pound and half, not and half, and half, an obol, and a quarter ounce.
Okay.
Amazing. Games. Here's some games. Football. Bar. Hey, you want to go have a game of bar later, Jackson?
I think I would like to play some bar.
Okay. Gleek. 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 Oh, Roshna sent a super chat that I seem to be missing. Sorry about that, Roshna. It's hard for me to look at this as well as the other thing. Oh, Roshna for $1.99 says, babies violate the law of conservation of energy. Yeah, was that Shmuel Pollan who taught us that? I think that was Shmuel Pollan who taught us that. All right. Carousel. Not carousel, carousel. Pile. Mall. Even or non-even. We can play that right now. Jackson.
Yes.
14.
Even.
0. Jackson, come on.
It's also even.
Yes. 3.
Not even.
All right. Wow. Look at that. Jackson is a champion, even
All
or
right.
non-even.
Man, I was scared
Player.
for a minute there.
And the last game on our list here is keel, like a boat. Perfumes. Benzoin. Perfume paw. Pomatum. And storax. Those are some common perfumes. So now you know what to get your girlfriend if she's looking for a gift. Get her some perfume paw or some storax, please.
Storax sounds interesting. That sounds like I don't know, like it could be the name of something. Storax.
Could be a Pokemon or a Dr. Seuss character.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with either of those.
On the church. The sides of the Neff. I didn't know that Neffy was going to be in here. Congrats to Nephilim Free for getting into a book that was written before you were even born. The Holy Water Pot. I think that's supposed to be like the font. Okay. The Little Cellar. I don't even know what that is. And then the Bobby of the Church, which is all one word and is capitalized with the. So, yeah, I don't know what the Bobby of the Church is, but sounds important. Solemn Feasts. The Dead's Day. The 12th Day. The Vigil. And the Visitation, of which I think I can only identify one of them. Maybe the 12th day is supposed to be like Little Christmas? Maybe? Ecclesiastical dignities. Incumbent. Canon. Canoness. Okay, those are fair. Canon and canoness, that's good. Chanter, comma, a clerk. Chanter works. I don't know what a clerk is doing there. General of order. Not an order, a order, because remember, this guy doesn't actually know English. The next one is penitentiary. one of those famous clergymen on the penitentiary of St. Peter's Cathedral. Theologist and general curate. Chivalry orders. Black Eagle. Avis. Advice. Oh, okay. Calatrava. Elephant. Honor Legion. Saint Michaelmas, which is a holiday, not a saint, but okay, sure. And Very Merit. Roshina for 199 says, Borax perfume is how you detect Leviathans. Oh, nice. All right. And then our final section is degrees. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. A cannoneer, a vessel captain, a harbinger, a parapet, an army general. I think these are supposed to be military ranks. I think that's what's going on here.
He mistranslated even the word rank as degrees.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A general to galleries. So for those of you who are in the art army, you'll be happy to know that you're being represented here in English as she is spoke. A great admiral, not a bad admiral, not a little admiral, a great one. Thank you. A king, a lieutenant, a quartermaster, and a vice admiral ship. The ship itself gets its own rank in the Navy, in case you guys didn't know. So there we go. That is our short reading from English as she is spoke, or A Jest in Sober Earnest. I'm glad that you guys could experience the absolute wonderful nonsense with me, and that Jackson could do, and that he could even learn what the damn thing is in the first place.
I am happier now, yes.
Yes. That is a whole lot more fun than anything that Charles Jackson is doing, because I can tell you this. No one's getting killed over English as she is spoke. So there's at least that. But also, even if that is more fun, I am still going to keep concentrating on the pseudoscience, because it is my little tiny way of pushing back against what is a large and growing tide of misinformation that is tied in with rising authoritarian fascism. And so I think it is very important, and it is important that you're here, because quite frankly, it's not like I'm going to go fight a revolution. So yeah, this is my little part to help push back against that. And it always has been, really. It's more acute to me that that's what's going on here now than it has been in the past. But yeah. So first, I want to say thank you so much to everyone, especially all of you who donated to the fundraiser, those of you who sent in super chats, those of you who gifted memberships. All of that stuff helps me keep up what I'm doing, which is combating pseudoscience, and especially pseudoscience that is in service to authoritarian nonsense. So again, if that's something you want to see me keep being able to do, please consider the Patreon or the channel memberships, or both, I guess, if you're being very, very, very generous. Jackson, do you have anything you want to tell people about anything that's coming up soon for you over on your channel, which is linked in the description, by the way, everybody? I will take Jackson's silence as a no. Oh, Jackson can't hear anything. Let me type at Jackson. Give me a second. I have to put my mic down. Sorry about that. I know there was dead air there. Oh, yes, and Sheepit. Borg Emporia is reminding me, if you want to help me get my animations out faster, what you're going to want to do is check the description. There's a section called How to Render for Me, and just download the client appropriate to your operating system, and use the login information, and there you go. Jackson, do you have anything that you want to tell people about what's coming up for you? I feel like Jackson still can't hear me. That is unfortunate. But we're going to have to go ahead and say no, but do go subscribe to Jackson. He has a cool channel. There are conversations with creationists. There are conversations with other people that aren't creationists. There are videos about things like various topics in evolutionary biology, stuff like that. So yeah, please go over and subscribe to Jackson Wheat's channel. What's coming up here for me on Thursday, I've got a new video coming out. It is about geocentrism. It is going to be, let me figure out the actual title, Ptolemy versus Reality, Catholic Geocentrism Part 2. So,
can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you, Jackson. Can you hear me?
I don't know what's going on. I keep dropping out.
I don't know either. You might have a bad connection. Can you hear me, though?
My connection hasn't changed.
Well, I'm going to assume that you can hear me. Oh, there it is.
Weird. The only thing I have coming up, I guess, is I've got a video on how we're descending into fascism as a country. So that
fun.
should be coming out soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun.
Yeah. All right. So like I said, on Thursday, I've got that new video coming up. That is going to be at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, noon my time, the real time. Then on Friday, over on Top Hats Off, the plan right now is that we're going to be playing some Star Trek Adventures with the show Star Trek Endurance. Now, I do want to say that is currently the plan. However, I think a lot of you probably know that one of our players has been having a rough go of it in the last few weeks, months maybe. And so he's also pretty integral to the plot for this next one. So there is a possibility that we might not play. And if that happens, I will try to have a different show for y'all, maybe some art or something like that. So yeah, there will be something, and that will be at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Then on Saturday, at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be doing Dapper Reacts. Both Kip and Vishanti have said that they are going to be there, so that is the plan. We're going to keep looking at the guys who think that losing eggs in the mammal lineage is the same thing as evolving sex, and who confuse post-anal tails for anuses, and who cannot read to save their lives, and also who think that Galilei was persecuted by the Catholic Church for inventing gravity.
Okay.
So this is way lower tier than even Charles Jackson. But that's what my live shows are for. It's for the bottom tier stuff. There's a reason I don't cover like Georgia Purdom or like Nathaniel Jeanson on live shows. It's because I actually have to do some research to cover those guys. But the guys who think that a post-anal tail is the same thing as an anus, yeah, no, I don't have to do any research to counter that. I just have to be able to read words, basically. So yeah, that is it for me. Thank you so much again, everybody. And you know what? Remember, ICE are a bunch of terroristic Nazi murderous thugs, and they should be abolished at best.
Hey, before you leave, I just want to take a second to thank my patrons and channel members, especially those pledging $20 or above.
Benthovend, Tapioca Weasel, Sphincter of Doom, Regios, Landon Knoll, Ian Chen, Elleron Teller, Philgevara, Kelvin Brostic Van Manen, David Hercules, Joshua Geese, Dan Sheedy, Pegajace, The Plastic Mouse, Arrow Dodger, Gordon Love Science, Trixie Purple, Agricola Sequa, S. Kenneth Swenson, Edwin M., Lance Hall, and John Ackerman.
It's because of my channel members and patrons whom you're seeing on screen that this channel can stay afloat. Without you, it would all shut down. If you want to join the team, there's a link to join the channel below this video, and there's a link to join the Patreon in the description. On the Patreon, you can get a 15% discount for pledging annually, and either way, you get early access to virtually all of my scripted videos months before they come out for the general public. Thanks for watching.